Hello my dear friends, very nice to meet you again. Welcome to the third revision session. In this video we're going to deal with module 8, which was entitled Art. What was in this module? We learned about some works of art like the Starry Night painting by Van Gogh, optical illusion, entertainment. Concerning grammar, we learned about the passive voice and the causative form, and we learned how to use these models: may, might, must, and can to show certainty and uncertainty. Now we will have a quick view on grammar topics that we have studied throughout this module. The first one was the passive voice. As you see here, passive voice means verb to be plus the PP form of the main verb. We use this form, or the passive voice, when we want to emphasize, to focus on the action, not the person who did it. If we want to add the person who did the action at the end of the sentence, we get it preceded by the preposition by, and it's called the agent, the one who does the action. Notice, there must be an object in the sentence to be formed in the passive voice. That means if there is no object, there is no passive. This sentence, "It's hot today," cannot be formed in the passive voice because it has no object at all. So we have to check the sentence before trying to form it into the passive voice to check whether it has an object or not. Now, the steps to change any sentence from being formed in the active voice to be formed in the passive voice, we shift the places between the subject and the object. The subject is the doer of the verb. The object, the one or something that receives the verb. So we shift places between the subject and the object. That means we start with the object, and before we add the main verb, which will always be in the PP form, we have to use verb to be according to the tense. So verb to be here will come in the present simple tense, which means am, is, or are. This is the form of the passive voice in the present simple tense. They hold the competition every year. I started the sentence here with they. The pronoun they refers to the subject, the doer of the verb, a group of people. So I want to focus on this part of the sentence. In the second sentence, I shifted places between they and the competition, the object, to focus on the action itself. The competition is held every year. I don't care about who does this action, who holds the competition. The same way in the past simple, we will start with the object, verb to be in the past simple was or were, plus the PP form of the main verb. As you see here, Da Vinci painted the Mona Lisa. Then I'm gonna start with the object, the Mona Lisa. The Mona Lisa was painted by Da Vinci. I used verb to be as was in this form because verb to be always follows the tense form. For the future simple, we'll start with the object, then will and be in the infinitive form, then the PP form of the main verb. They will open the new gallery tomorrow. In the passive form, the new gallery will be opened tomorrow. For any model, we follow this form. We start with the object, then the modal verb, and then be in the infinitive form, then the PP form of the main verb. You can eat obento as a main course or a part of it. Obento is a Japanese dish. So it's the object. We start with the object. Can, be instead of eat in the same form, the infinitive form, and then eat comes in the PP form. Obento can be eaten as a main course or a part of it. And here is more of it. According to the tense, you follow the suitable form but the steps are followed in all tenses. Shift places between the subject and the object. Start with the object, then according to the tense, before you add the main verb, add verb to be in the same form of the main verb, and then the main verb in the PP form. If you want to add the agent, the doer of the verb, add it at the end of the sentence, preceded by preposition by. Here, how to show deductions or certainty. If we are sure about something, we are sure in two different ways. We are sure that something is true or something has already happened, or we're sure that something is not true. For the first way, when we are sure that something is true, we use must plus the infinitive form. When we are sure about the action, that the action already happened, we use must infinitive. And when we are sure that something is untrue, we use can't plus the infinitive. That painting must be very expensive. I'm sure about this. It can't be cheap. I'm sure about this too, but I'm sure it's not cheap. I'm sure it's very expensive. I'm sure it's not cheap. For uncertainty, when we are not sure about what we say, we use may or might plus the infinitive form. Look at this example. I don't know this boy. He may be one of my brother's friends. He may be or he may not be one of my brother's friends. So I can use might instead of may to show low possibility. The previous form, can't or must, may or might, plus the infinitive form, show the present time. If we talk about the past time, we add another step. After the modal verb, we add have, and then we get the main verb in the PP form. Look at this example. My grandma couldn't read or write. So this situation refers to a past time. So she can't have gone to school. I'm sure that she didn't go to school at all. That's why she couldn't read or write. Afterwards, we dealt with the causative form, a way to form sentences in order to show that someone does something to someone else. So, Mom cleaned the house yesterday. That means she cleaned it by herself. The doer of the action is Mom. But Mom had the house cleaned yesterday. That means someone else did it for it. Okay? So you have to be careful. We start with what we call the receiver, or the one who benefits from the verb. The receiver and the agent may be the same person, so we're gonna start with him or her. Then we add verb to have or verb to get according to the main verb tense. So cleaned here in the past simple, so I used had. I could use got instead of had. Both are correct. Afterwards, we get the object, the house. Then the main verb in the PP form. Mom had the house cleaned yesterday. Now let's practice. Laura plays a basketball match every Friday. Use by. That means I'm going to use the passive voice. Now the center of any sentence is the verb. So after the verb we have the object, which we are going to start with. So I'm gonna start with a basketball match. Now it's time to add the verb. For the verb we add verb to be in the passive voice. This form of the verb to play shows the present simple. So I'm gonna use verb to be in the present simple tense, which is am, is, or are. And then I'm gonna add play in the PP form like this. A basketball match is played by Laura. I've added the agent, the doer here, preceded by the preposition by, every Friday. Now the children gave a present for their mom. This is the main verb and this is the direct object. So I'm gonna start with one of the two objects. I have two objects here, present and mom. So I can answer this one in this way. Mom was given a present by the children, or a present was given to mom by the children. Both are correct. Kim speaks English. Now here is the main verb. English is the object that will come at the beginning. We'll shift the places between Kim and English. And before adding this verb, the main verb to speak here, I'm gonna add verb to be in the same form, which is the present simple form. To be. English is spoken by Kim. Number 4. Sue will visit Anne in the afternoon. The object is Anne, which follows the main verb. Now Anne will be at the beginning of the sentence, and then will. Before I add visit, I will add verb to be here. Verb to be will come the same form as visit, the infinitive form. So Anne will be visited by Sue in the afternoon. The same way for number 5. Hala has ironed her clothes. So I'm gonna start with the clothes. And whose clothes are they? They are Hala's clothes. Hala's clothes have. Don't forget to change the verb according to whether it is singular or plural form. Subject and verb agreement is very important when you build up a sentence in English. Mom cooks pizza every weekend. So the object is pizza, will come at the beginning, is before cooked by mom every weekend, and the same way for the rest of these questions. All these questions were answered inside the classroom. So be careful when you deal with the passive voice, because it's commonly used in English, and to sound native you have to use it regularly. So all of them are passive voice, as you see, and we have already answered all these questions. You can pause the video and check whether your answers were correct or not. All these questions were answered during the revision sessions we had inside the classroom. When I'm asked here to use been, to add been to the sentence, that means I'm going to add verb to be, which means we're going to use the passive voice. Now I've reached the end of this video. I hope it was a beneficial one. Thanks a lot and good luck inshallah during your exams. Goodbye.